Greetings, Throne Watchers. Welcome to Hedge Night Live. We are going live at 11:30 p.m. EST to share our first reactions, talk book to show changes, and dig into the lore of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm Uzma. Unfortunately, Morgan won't be able to join us today. Whether you are a book reader or completely new to Duncan, you are welcomed here. If you are watching this, say hello in the chat so I can know who is here. Hi, as 786. Let us know what you guys think about this episode. Uh, First, let's take a look at what happened in episode 3, Squire. The episode begins with Egg looking at Dunk, worrying about him. Then decide then he decides to go and train Thunder to help Dunk. That scene was so adorable. It all he also meets Sir Robert Risling, right? He also meets Sir Robert Risling, and you should remember Robert Risling because we will definitely see him again in the futures. By the way, this whole scene doesn't exist in the books. This scene is important because Sir Robert has a role to play in the future as well. And later we see Egg singing a song about the first Blackfire Rebellion, which has the first Blackfire Rebellion happened in 196 AC, and the events of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms started in 209 AC. So a lot of time hasn't passed. We can see all of the people who participated in the Blackfire Rebellion. For example, Prince Baelor Targaryen, Prince Mecha Targaryen, who is ex-father, by the way. So we have seen these characters. They have played a role in the Blackfire Rebellion. So it's not too far away, and this will come in. This will play a part in the future. But for now, let's see what happens next in the episode. Next, we also see Sir Robert Riesling. On the show. They are pronouncing it Riesling instead of Riesling. So we see Robert Riesling's shield arms as well. Sorry, Robin Riesling. And then Egg and Dunk have a heartwarming moment where Egg plans his future. He says he wants to keep working for Dunk, and they plan how they can live a peaceful life here, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure why he is planning his future when now that we know who he is, he cannot possibly think to live as a commoner. We know he is a prince. And this line that you are a good worker and you put your mind to it, this is a line that Dunk thinks in his head in the books. In the books, we see a lot of dialogues that Dunk only thinks in his head, but on the show, we see those dialogues spoken, whether Dunk is talking to someone else or someone else is talking to Dunk, they say those parts out loud. So, and as for the tourney, In, in the books, Dunk already knows that the right of the first challenge goes to highborn lords and knights. So he plans to enter the tourney on the third day because of that. But on the show Dunk doesn't know all of those details. So he plans to enter the tourney on the first or rather second day, because the first day of the tourney would be considered the tourney at night, which I've already discussed in detail in my episode 2 breakdown video. So Dunk plans to enter the tourney on the second day, and Egg is the one who tells him that the right of first challenge goes to highborn lords. So and Dunk's shield isn't ready anyway, because when Dunk goes into the Ashford meadow, he meets Tansel and she tells him that his shield will be ready in the evening. So that's why Dunk doesn't challenge anyone or enter the tourney. And another thing that's weird on the show, Plummer offers Dunk to defeat Lord Ashford's younger son, Andrew, who is in the books, who is the older son, by the way. In the books, Andrew Ashford is the older son and Robert Ashford is the younger one. But on the show, they've changed these names as well, just like Sir Eric and Sir Arik in the House of the Dragon. That change seemed unnecessary to me. What do you think? By the way, anyway, so later Raymond mentions that Andrew Ashford is a local favorite. So if Dunk decides to defeat him, he will be hated by everyone and he will become a villain. But I don't think he needed to offer, Plummer needed to make that offer. So I think Plummer planned to bet on Dunk, and when Dunk defeated Sir Andrew, they would have gotten the money they were lacking. But still doesn't make sense because, as it's said and shown everywhere, Dunk is quite huge and people usually overestimate him. They don't think that he isn't capable of anything. Yeah, they look down on him, but I don't think he's that bad. So, yeah, this scene, I don't know. It's it didn't make sense to me. What did you think of this scene? Let me know in the comments. And then we see Aerion versus Sir Humphrey. You might notice that Aerion stopped uh, and looked at the high seat. He saw that Prince Maker wasn't there, only Prince Baelor was, and he smiled. Did you notice that? So, as Raymond said, when it's when Aerion is in front of Prince Maker, he is all smiles and the soul of chivalry on our. But the moment Prince Maker isn't there, he shows his true colors. He is someone, like I've said in my behind the scene trailer breakdown video, I feel like Aerion tries to copy Damon, but and he thinks he's a dragon, so he thinks very highly of himself. So in this scene, I think he knew he can get away by doing something shady like that, and that's why he isn't worried about anything. And that's why he kind of cheated. Would you consider it cheating? Maybe. So he kind of cheated when he struck Sir Humphrey Harding's horse instead of him because uh, that was not honorable at all. And in the books, Dunk knows that he what he did wasn't right, but he didn't want Egg to think something negative like that, that this kind of thing is possible. So he tells Dunk that it was an accident, even though he knew and deliberately tried to pretend that it wasn't that it was an accident, even though he knew it wasn't. So, but on the show, Dunk really believes that it was an accident because no knight will do something dishonorable like that. And it's Raymond who tells him that yes, he planned to do that. It was intentional because Aerion is a Targaryen and Targaryens are basically bad people. That's what Raymond said in short. So also, uh, mm, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. So Aerion was, yeah, And in the on the show, after that, Dunk and Egg meet someone who tells a prophecy. Uh, as you might see, okay, let's get to the next scene. Yeah, as you can see here. Yeah, in the books, after this scene, uh, after Sir Humphrey had fallen, Aerion steps down and takes out his sword, and he intended to kill Sir Humphrey before he is stopped by the people around him, even from by his own squire, and they take him away. So Prince Baelor decides to announce Sir Humphrey as the victor and give Arion's horse to Sir Humphrey. And from, as I've mentioned before, there were five champions. So from now on, there will only be four champions because Sir Humphrey is hurt and he will not be able to participate. So from now on, from the next day, there will be four champions, not five. And Aerion is really, really mad about that. He did, he didn't think he will be punished, and when he is really looking forward to take his anger out somewhere, and that's what we see later. So, and as for the riot scene, I've already mentioned this in my previous videos as well, that there will be a riot, and it makes sense that I've already predicted that this is where that trial will that that riot will happen. The small folk are angry. One thing that surprised me was that Arian didn't do anything when one of the small folks hit him. Like when we saw one of the small folks hit Prince Joffrey in Game of Thrones, he got mad and started yelling, kill them all," in Flea Bottom. But uh, that's what that's the kind of thing you would expect from Aerion, because that's he is kind of mad. He thinks very highly of himself. He thinks he is the dragon. So yes, if I have to say one thing that surprised me in this episode, it will be this part that Arian didn't react to the small folks looking down at him or talking bad about him. And we can see the army of Lord Ashford and the Targaryen men at arms trying to stop them. Then we see a song about Sir Lionel and Sir Manfred singing a song about someone called Alice, whose real name is Hope. And I think the purpose of this scene was to show that Egg has a lot of knowledge, something a normal commoner boy should not, someone from Flea Bottom should not have. And it's maybe the lesson they were trying to tell is to make use of whatever talents you have. Next, we see this prophecy. Oh, if now that it has been really revealed that Egg is Aegon Targaryen, and this prophecy, as with other Game of Thrones prophecy, we know it's not like nonsense. We know something will happen here. So the prophecy is, "You shall be king," and we know he will become King Aegon the Fifth, and he will die in a hot fire, which will be Summerhall, and worms shall feed upon your ashes. Do worms even feed ashes? Like eat? I've heard worms eating dead bodies, but ashes? I don't know. That's the first time I'm hearing it. What do you think? And then all who know you shall rejoice in your dying. That's one thing I'm kind of confused about. Like, from what we have seen throughout the history and the way people talk about this scene, it felt like a sad affair. It's not something that will anyone would rejoice about. People, Sir Duncan the Tall was loved in the entire Seven Kingdoms, so people would mourn him. And Egg was someone who was more sympathetic toward the small folks because of his life with Dunk. So the he kind of rubbed the High Lords the wrong way because he wanted to do more for the small folks. But all who know you shall rejoice in your dying. That's not something I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Eh, we know Prince Rhaegar Targaryen was born in the fire of Summerhall, and maybe people can rejoice about his birth, but it was a sad affair to the point that even people say that there was a melancholy in Rhaegar because probably because so many people died when he was born because of Summerhall, and this fire was the reason Prince Rhaegar Targaryen thought that he was the prince that was promised. With- But in the later years, he changed his mind and he thought he was not the prince that was promised. His son will be the prince that was promised. His son will be the Song of Ice and Fire. And that's what he tried with, I think, Elia Martell, his wife. But in Game of Thrones, in one of Dany's dreams in the house of the Undying. When she in the books, that scene is completely different. So, in one of those scenes, when Dany crosses one door, she stumbles upon the scene in the room where Rhaegar Targaryen is talking to Elia Martell, and he is talking about his son Aegon, which is not John, by the way. His son with Elia Martell, whose head the mountain is smashed against the wall. So that little that young Aegon, who is still alive in the books, but on the show he died in that scene. So Prince Rhaegar tells Elia Martell that his son will be the Song of Ice and Fire. So his mind later changed about that, and Mr. Raymond knew about that prophecy as well. In So that is probably that's why one of the theories came about that since Lyanna Stark was a Stark, she was in Winterfell, and there was another dream, or I think Bran saw it in one of his dreams that on the wall of um, on the wall there was a blue flower growing out of it, and the blue flower is a symbol for Lyanna Stark because Lyanna loved the blue rose. Was it rose? I don't remember it. If you remember, let me know. So Lyanna Stark it was her favorite, and that's probably why it's considered her sign. So when Rhaegar ran away with Lyanna and they had Jon together, he was the Song of Ice and Fire because he was born from both Lyanna, who is who is ice, and Rhaegar, who is fire. So one of the most popular theories is that since Prince Rhaegar was obsessed with the theory, with the prophecy of a Song of Ice and Fire, that was the reason why he approached Lyanna. I'm not sure if Lyanna knew about it or she really thought that Rhaegar loved her. The theory is that he did that to save the kingdom so that his son, the Song of Ice and Fire, can save the world from the long night, from the White Walkers. What do you think about this theory? Which theory do you think is true? And what do you think this prophecy about all who know you shall rejoice in your dying? What do you think she means by that? Let me know in the comments. After that, we see the scene where Sir Raymond and Sir Dunk are talking. It's this scene is almost the same as in the books, but there are a little bit of differences. Like Dunk thinking about challenging Sir Andrew, which does not happen in the books because Plummer does not offer any kind of deal to Dunk in the books. Uh, it's the same when excuse me. Yeah, it's the same when Egg offers to take his shield and wants to go to watch the puppet show. That's where Dunk decides to go to the Fossaway tent, and where they are talking, and that's when Egg comes running and tells Dunk that Tansel is in trouble. But yeah, that's where they also talked about how he will become the villain if he decided to defeat Andrew Ashford, which was not in the books because I don't think Andrew Ashford was a favorite. Both of Lord Ashford's son, Sir Robert and Sir Andrew, did fairly well in the tourney before getting defeated. And as I've discussed in my episode 1 breakdown video, Sir, if I remember correctly, Sir Robert faced Lionel Baratheon, and Sir Andrew faced Tywin Lannister, who is the Grey Lion, Daemon Lannister's heir. Daemon Lannister is the Lord of Casterly Rock. So those two, they were defeated. So Lionel Baratheon and Tywin Lannister had won those rounds, but they had to. I think they were 10 tills if I remember correctly, I'm not sure, but they did fairly well. So there was nothing about Andrew being favorite or anything. And then he talks about Mekar's sons, and if you notice this, this is where he mentions Mr. Aemon. The third so useless, they were gonna ship him off to Citadel to make a maester of him. So maybe at this point, Mr. Aemon has not gone to the Citadel, but he probably will soon in the future. And then we saw him in Game of Thrones, where he tells Jon about his story, what happened, and how he didn't, even though it killed him, he didn't do anything when House Targaryen was getting destroyed. And then we come upon this scene where Aerion says the dragon ought never lose and gets really, really mad when uh, when Tansel kills the dragon. And I saw someone say this earlier, and I thought it was really funny that he probably won't feel even this sad or mad if someone killed Prince Makar, like, or even any of his family. He was really, really upset that she killed a dragon. But I don't think it's fair or like he should be mad here because as I've discussed in my episode 1 breakdown video, Hansel was telling the story about the dragon Urax. She killed Urax, who used to live in during the time of the first man, and she is pretending to be Servin of the Mirror Shield, who was a knight who hid behind his mirror shield. So the dragon thought when the dragon looked around, he saw his own reflection, so he didn't know there was another night. And as I've discussed in my video before, that Servin was also wearing a mask. In this episode, she's not wearing a mask, but in the first episode, the knight was wearing a mask. So the dragon wasn't able to see there was a human there, and because of that, Servin was able to get close to Urax, and he was able to plunge a spear through his eyes. And I've already discussed it in my previous video that in this on the show, he will Servin will use a sword to kill Urax instead of a spear, and that's what we saw here. And instead of the eye, she plunged his her sword into Urax's neck, which shouldn't be possible because the dragon's hide is extremely tough. So that's why they had to target the eye, because eye is a vulnerable part of the dragon. Uh, anyway, so at that time, during the time of the first one, the Targaryens hadn't even stepped a single foot in Westeros. So they were still in Valyria at that time. So his anger is misplaced, but this show, as discussed before, kind of implies that dragons are stupid because he was so easily fooled by Servin of the Mirror Shield. Maybe that could be why Aerion got so mad. But like I mentioned before, he was really upset that Prince Baelor had announced Sir Humphrey as the winner and given his horse to Sir Humphrey. So he was already mad, and he was looking to take his anger out somewhere. And he happened upon this play where he saw Hansel kill a dragon. And it's already mentioned in the books that he thinks of himself as a dragon. So it really made him mad. And this we s- we get to the big reveal that Egg is Prince Aegon Targaryen, Prince Maekhar's youngest son. In episode 1, they were talking about Maekhar's two missing sons, Daron and Aegon. So this is Aegon, and we already met Daron in episode 1 when he talked about his dragon dream where he had seen Dunk and he was scared of Dunk, and Darren had told Dunk to stay away from him. So as for why he was scared, it will be revealed later. I'm not going to give away any spoilers. So we have seen Prince Maker's three sons now: Darren, Aerion, and Aegon. And Dunk was really shocked to see this reveal. And like I said earlier, I don't know why Egg was planning his future with Dunk if he was already a prince and he had his life already planned out for him. So a lot of things also make sense. Like in the previous episode, Egg was very conscious about his height and asked Dunk that, do you think I'll make ever become a knight? And that the people around him has have told him that he was small for his age. So there might the person who told Egg that he will never be a knight or he's too small might have been Aerion, because Aerion is the one who is too cruel and kind of on the mad side of the coin. So yeah, you can see Aerion definitely bullying Egg. And in the books, Egg talks about how much he has tortured. Aerion has tortured him. So, what was your favorite moment in this episode? I really loved this episode, even though a lot of the things in this episode weren't in the books, but it still kind of makes sense. As I just hope they don't stray too far in the next seasons once season 1 becomes successful, because that's what happened in House of the Dragon as well. And as for and I know I've said this last time as well, but this episode is my most favorite episode so far. I really loved this, especially this last couple of scenes with Aerion, with Aerion and eggs reveal and all that. In my opinion, that was the best moment, along with the prophecy. I also liked the prophecy. As for the most surprising moment for the show only viewers, it's probably the egg reveal if you haven't seen the spoilers already, which are all over the internet anyway. But for me, I would say the most surprising moment for me would be Plummer's offer. I felt like it was unnecessary, and also I did not expect him to make that offer, because if Junk is challenging someone, he would definitely want to win. So offering him to try to win, that didn't make sense. If he had offered him to fail and be defeated, that at least would be understandable, because people would have thought he was big and strong, so he might win, and then he lost. But if people are already expecting Sir Andrew Ashford to win, and he's a favorite and everyone is betting on him, then letting asking Dunk to win, I don't know. What did you think of this offer? Let me know in the comments. And ye- excuse me. So today's episode's big reveal is definitely Egg's real identity. That Egg is Prince Aegon Targaryen, and the best quote, I don't know, the dragon ought never lose, because I don't know why, it kind of reminds me of Danny's saying, the dragon is not a slave, the dragon ought never lose. It's kind of similar, even though it's coming from two completely different type of people. And as for the lore hint, the prophecy for Summer Hall. So yeah, so that was the reactions. Let's look at the book to show changes. I think I've already discussed them here. The scenes a little bit, the scene that changed was, I think, the talk between mm, Raymond and Dunk. It was a little bit different, because I don't think, if I'm remembering it correctly, I don't think Raymond talked about the Targaryens dispassionately. He didn't hate the Targaryens that much, calling them incestuous aliens and all that. That didn't happen in the books. And let's see what else changed in the episode. Uh, I don't think anything else was too different. The Aerion scene and Hansel's at the end was almost kind of exactly the same. And as for the additions, the show added a lot of new scenes, like Egg training Thunder to help Dunk, or Lionel and Manfred, Lord Lionel Baratheon and Sir Manfred singing the song of Alice, and Plummer's offer. Those were the new scenes. And we also saw two new songs in this episode. One was about the Blackfire Rebellion, the other was about Alice. And as for the timeline shift, as I've mentioned before, the tourney that happened in episode 1 at night, that was supposed to happen during the day, the first day. And this event that happened today with Aerion Targaryen and Sir Humphrey, that was supposed to happen at the end of the first day. In this, on the show, on the first day, the beginning of the tourney happened at night, and Sir Aerion versus Sir Humphrey happened on the second day, as I've already predicted in my previous videos. Other than that, what else? I don't think the timeline shifted that much. As for sigils and banners, we saw Sir Robin Risling's sigil, and we also saw Andrew Ashford, I think, defeating someone with a black and gold banner, but it went by too fast, so I wasn't able to see it. I'll, I'll mention it in my episode 3 breakdown video after I have more time to take a closer look at the banners and all the tiny details. So, as for what will matter later, definitely the prophecy that was mentioned in the books. So, book readers, what were the changes that bothered you? And as for the show only viewers, were you confused about anything? If you were, let me know in the comments below and I'll answer that in my episode breakdown video. So, who stole the show for you in this episode? For me, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about Egg or Aerion. The the two brothers are definitely competing for this one. Mm, Aerion or Egg. I definitely love Egg more, but Aerion was also very. His presence was very. I don't know how what. Um, you could feel his presence like it was very impactful. You could like tell that something is about to happen when Aerion is on screen, kind of like that. So okay, I think that's all for today. All right, we are going to start wrapping up here. This was the Hedge Night Live, our first reaction discussion to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We go live at 11:30 p.m. IST after every episode. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you are subscribed and notifications are on. I'll be posting a full detailed episode breakdown very soon, where I go frame by frame and dive deeper into the lore and book changes. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode, and we'll be back right after the next one. Thank you for hanging out with us. Seven blessings to you.